So the second method that you guys can use for an image transfer is using a gel medium. I personally prefer this method because it doesn't have that shiny glossiness that the tape would. It looks a little bit more realistic, and you can also manipulate it better. With the tape, you can't paint over it or draw on top of that packaging tape as easily as you can with this gel medium. So it does have its limitations. But with the packaging tape, it's really quick. With the gel medium, the drawback of the packaging tape is that you can't really manipulate the top of it very well, and it has that gloss to it. But the benefits of the gel medium is that you can manipulate it a little bit more, and it looks a little bit more original to me. Essentially, you're making a film still, kind of like you want this film to be really thick, kind of like the packaging tape. But the drawback of the gel medium is that it takes about 5 to 10 layers of the gel medium before it'll actually transfer over. So with the tape, it's super quick. This is going to take you several days to do. Okay, that's why I asked for you guys' collage to be done, and we kind of stepped back from our cut paper collage to do this one. So we can make the photocopy, and over the next few days while you're finishing your cut paper collage, you can be adding the layers of the gel medium. But essentially, it's the same process. The other thing with the gel medium is that you don't have to use a photocopy. You can use a photocopy if you want. Like I used a photocopy on this, and you can see that I'm starting to put the layers on top of it. So you could use a photocopy, but you could also use your magazine, a magazine picture as well, and then you can have it in color. So that's another benefit of using the gel medium photo transfer process is that you have more options. So I have the paper bags up at the front. I'm also going to have like little pieces of cardboard so you can do this on, so you don't get your table all yucky. But what you're going to do is you're going to lay your image, whether it's a magazine article or whether it is a photocopy of a magazine or photocopy of an image. It's up to you which one you want to do because you have the photocopies there. But don't use, just for the sake of it, for the materials, don't use the full page for the practice. If you're going to do that, full page one, that's fine when you're doing the project, but not in the case of the exercise. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the gel medium. You're going to use one of these crummy brushes up at the front. You're going to dip your paintbrush into the gel medium. You could also use a gloss medium or a matte medium. Gel medium is a little bit better because it's thicker, so that means less layers that you have to do. Also, it just depends. If you like that glossy look, I don't like the glossy look, then I don't like to use the gloss medium. I prefer matte medium in cases like this, but it's up to you and your personal preference. So I'm going to dip the brush in the gel medium, and I'm just going to put a layer on top of the image that I'm choosing to do. So you see how it's going on milky white? It's essentially going to dry clear. It's not going to look like this after it dries. So I'm going to put my first layer on. Okay, I'm going to cover the whole thing and make it relatively thick. Okay, and even. And then I'm going to let it dry. So I put down my first layer over the entire thing, relatively thick and covering the entire thing. So I want to let it dry. This could take the entire period, the full day to dry, depending on the weather. Like today it's really hot, and it's really hot in here. So this will probably dry within the period, and I can put another layer on. But if it rains outside, then the humidity's up, it's a little bit more moist, then it takes longer for it to dry. Does that make sense? So once it dries, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another layer on. And when I put my other layer, I want to go in the opposite direction with the brush. So this layer I put up and down. My second layer I'm going to go left and right. And so you're going to want to do between 5 and 10 layers of this. And then, so this is going to take us a few days to do. So once I get my 5 to 10 layers on and I decide that it is thick enough, then I'm going to do the same thing I did with the packaging tape. I would dip it in water and then rub off the paper from the back. So I have to let it dry. I would lay it on the drying rack over here until I'm ready to use it again. So each day you can write your name on the paper bag or the folder, whichever one you want. That's fine. But this process is good. Like think about think about what you might use it for in your collage. And you don't have to use any of these techniques if you don't want to. It's up to you and what your need is. But say I'm doing my political social collage on protesting, okay? So if I'm showing a protest, I need lots of people, right? So what I might do is maybe I just find a group of people, one small group of people in a magazine or off of the internet. Then what I can do is that you say, Miss Clough, I need this photocopied like 20 times or whatever of various sizes. So then you can show size variety. It's the same group of people, but I photocopy it like 20 times to make your big, huge crowd of people or of protesters. If I did them in various sizes, then I can use that to show depth, right? The bigger in the foreground, smaller people in the background. So then you're not spending all this time looking for like a bajillion people, right? You just make one photocopy of one big group. Like here is a group of people on a subway, but maybe I wanted to make it look like a really long train. So I could still take this group and photocopy it over and over and over again and use this transfer over and over and over again. It doesn't look like the magazine. It looks like the gel medium. It looks more artistic. Okay, does that make sense, you guys? So this is one of the benefits of using a photo transfer. All right, is there any questions?